January what? Middle January, beginning January.
Jaya Rama Rama Punjabi Hari
Jaya Rama Punjabi Hari
Gopi Jana Baba Girivardhari Yasodanam Dhanna Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Jaya Radha Punjabi Hari, Radha Punjabi Hari, Hare.
Jaya Radha Punjabi Jaya Radha Punjabi Jaya Radha
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Mai Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra
Jaya Srinathaji, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srinathaji, Jaya Giri Govardhan.
Jaya Srinathaji Jaya Baladeva Jaya Srinathaji Jaya Guru
Jaya Gauranikaya, Jaya Gauranikaya, Jaya Gauranikaya, Jaya Gauranikaya.
Jaya Gauranikaya Jaya Gauranikaya Jaya Gauranikaya
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya
Jaya Om Vishnu Padma Paramahamsa Parivara Acharya Astoda Satyashishimar's divine grace, founder of Iskana Bhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Granthara Shrimadbhagavatam Ki, their most merciful Lordship Shri Shrianakunja Bihari Ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Maya Subhadra Ki, Shri Nataji Shri Balagopal Ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki, Nitai Go Prem. All glories to the assembled graces. All glories to the assembled graces. All glories to the assembled graces. All glories to the Lord and Spirit of Shri Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Todayamudiraye Nastaprayashe Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. I offer my humble obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes, which were darkened by the darkness of ignorance. Krishna. Regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, almost all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. This verse says it's almost destroyed. We sit here in class and experience, you could say practically unhindered, the ability to have loving consciousness in our minds. But the second we step outside, then we get exposed to all this other nonsense that's going on out there. We're reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 28. Nunam Vrata Snana Uttadaneshvara. Nunam Vrata Snana Uttadaneshvara. Samarchito Hi Asya Grihita Pandibi. Samarchito Hi Asya Grihita Panibi. Pibanti Ya Shakye Adharmaratam Muhur Pibanti Ya Shakya Adharmaratam Muhur. Raja Striya Samamuhur Yadasaya Rajastriya Samamuhur Yadasaya. Nunam Vratashnana Uttadineshvara. Samarchito Hi Asya Grihita Panibi. Pibanti Ya Shakya Dharamritam Muhur. Vrajashriya Samu Muhurya Rasaya Nunamratasnana Hude Dineshwara Nunamratasnana Hude Dineshwara Samarchito Yasya Grihita Panibi Samarchito Yasya Grihita Panibi Pibanti Yasyakya Dharamritam Muhur Pibanti Yasyakya Dharamritam Muhur Brajashriya Samu Muhur Yarasaya Brajastriya Samu Muhur Yarasaya Please, Jen. Nunamratasnana Huta Dineshwara Samarchito Yasya Grihita Panibi Pibanti Yasyakya Dharamritram Muhur Rajastriya Samamur Yadasaya. Nunam Pratasnana Huta Dineshwara Samarchito Yasya Grihita Panibi Pibanti Yasyakya Dharamritram Muhur Rajastriya Samamuhur Vyarasaya Nunam. Certainly in the previous birth. Vrata, vow. Shnana, bath. Huta, sacrifice in the fire. Adina, by all these. Ishvara, the personality of Godhead. Samarchita, perfectly worshipped. He, certainly. Asya is. Grihita Panibi, by the married wives. Pibanti, relishes. Ya, those who. Shaki, O friend. Adara Amritam, the nectar from his lips. Muhu, again and again. Vrajastriya, the damsels of Vrajabhumi. Samumuhu, often fainted. Yet Asaya, expecting to be favored in that way. Nunamratasnana Huta Dineshwara Samarchito Yasya Grihita Panibi Pibanti Yasyakya Dharamritram Muhur Rajastriya Samu Muhur Yarasaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace by Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O friends, just think of his wives, whose hands he has accepted. How they must have undergone vows, baths, fire sacrifices, and perfect worship of the Lord of the universe, to constantly relish now the nectar from his lips by kissing. The damsels of Vrajabhumi would often faint just by expecting such favors. Please repeat. O friends, just think of his wives, whose hands he has accepted. How they must have undergone vows, baths, fire sacrifices, and perfect worship of the Lord of the universe, to constantly relish now the nectar from his lips. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kunja Bihari Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Shri Shri Radha by kissing. The damsels of Rajbhumi would often faint just by expecting such favors.
Who's talking to whom?
Krishna is leaving for Dwarka, and it is being explained. See.
Who is he speaking to?
These ladies of the Hastina.
Huh?
Ladies of Hastina.
The ladies of Hastinapur are describing, right? Okay. Oh, friends, just think of his wives, whose hands he has accepted, how they must have undergone vows, fasts, fire sacrifices, and perfect worship of the Lord of the universe, to constantly relish now the nectar from his lips by kissing. The damsels of Rajbhumi would often faint just by expecting such favors. Purport. By his divine grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Religious rites prescribed in the scriptures are meant to purify the mundane qualities of the conditioned souls to enable them to be gradually promoted to the stage of rendering transcendental service unto the Supreme Lord. Attainment of this stage of pure spiritual life is the highest perfection, and this stage is called Svarup, or the factual identity of the living being. Liberation means renovation of this stage of Svarup. In that perfect stage of Svarup, the living being is established in 5 phases of loving service, one of which is the stage of Madhurya Ras, or the humor of conjugal love. The Lord is always perfect in himself, and thus he has no hankering for himself. He, however, becomes a master, a friend, a son, or a husband to fulfill the intense love of the devotee concerned. Herein, 2 classes of devotees of the Lord are mentioned in the stage of conjugal love. One is Svakya, and the other is Parakya. Both of them are in conjugal love with the personality of Godhead, Krishna. The queens of Dwarka were Svakya, or duly married wives, but the damsels of Raja were young friends of the Lord while he was unmarried. The Lord stayed at Vrindavan till the age of 16, and his friendly relations with the neighboring girls were in terms of parakya. These girls, as well as the queens, underwent severe penances by taking vows, bathing, and offering sacrifices in the fire, as prescribed in the scriptures. The rites, as they are not an end in themselves, nor are fruit of action. Culture of knowledge or perfection in mystic powers ends in themselves. They are all means to attain to the highest stage of Svarup, to render constitutional, transcendental service to the Lord. Each and every living being has his individual position in one of the above-mentioned 5 different kinds of reciprocating means with the Lord. And in one's pure spiritual form of Svarup, the relation becomes manifest without mundane affinity. The kissing of the Lord, either by his wives or his young girlfriends who aspire to have the Lord as their fiancé is not of any mundane, perverted quality. Had such things been mundane, a liberated soul like Sukadeva would not have taken the trouble to relish them, nor would Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have been inclined to participate in those subjects after renouncing worldly life. The stage is earned after many lives of penance. Om Jnanatamrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshusirmilitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was just reading yesterday in the 8th canto, I believe, 8th canto. In the upper planetary systems, it is described how the damsels who take forms as Gandharvas to simply sing. That's their whole purpose of life. That's all they do. They just sing to glorify Krishna. Now, when they go to the places of pilgrimage and they bathe in the sacred waters, it is said that the sacred waters are fragrant because they have bathed in them.
Absolutely.
Isn't that amazing? See, normally here women bathe to get clean. They're bathing and leaving the fragrance of their own bodies in the water and in the presence. So, see, the way we would normally see the bathing process even is completely opposite when you look from this perspective. The same way we're looking at these damsels of Vrajbhumi and their relationships with Krishna. We have only ourselves to look at it, our own experiences to relate this to, but it's not like that at all. What we are engaging in as young boys and girls here is for our own satisfaction, for our own pleasures. It's not like that in the spiritual world at all. So their viewpoints toward Krishna as it's being revealed has been cultivated lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. These souls, many of them, those that were not, it's being described, they were finding their svarup, right? By their association with Krishna. And so we are in a position now to be finding. This is why we are taking part in this devotional service. I get the feeling from this, originally we were all originally in female forms. That's what it seems to be revealing here when it's saying they were experiencing their original form. It's almost as though everybody's original form is of that nature towards Krishna, towards God. He has made everyone in their original form of that nature. Now, I don't know that that is so, because there are 5 different kinds of relationships developed even in the spiritual world. So there is Padakya and Madhurya Ras there, but there are as well parental relationships described as being there in the spiritual world. So how to put this in place has to be given by realization of Krishna, because there's no birth there. So how? Just like we are having a father child relationship with Guru here, even though we're not physically his child, right? So the same way amongst ourselves, we're having relationships based on our development or our development of Krishna consciousness, and we're acting in the position of friends. Those friendships that are developed in Krishna consciousness because they're of an eternal nature, go even deeper than those that we've been born in our families with. They can. Because these families now, the family of Krishna consciousness, that the initiation process is a rebirth into, that you're no longer the same person you were, that you got born into as in the world. You're a completely different person. And so then you have to be given a different name. And by realizing the name puts you to realize and know your eternal relationship with Krishna. Based on the desires of the parents, normally the child is given a name. What the parents like the sound of has nothing to do with the child's abilities, nothing to do, right? So that's the way the culture is set up in the world. And if we can see that it originally, family was all structured by instruction of God. Mankind didn't have a way to know family relationships or any of this stuff. It was all put together by Krishna in the beginning. And so now it has degraded to the place that it's in. So children born into the world now, for the most part, parents don't know that their future is foretold and known by the moment they were born. And the influence, the exact environmental time that there will never be again. That was for them, for that moment, to be born and exposed to all the particular elements that are existing exactly at the very moment in time that karma has chosen for them to be manifest in the world. Now when they come into the world, then parents choosing the name for them that they like to hear and not choosing according to their qualities or characteristics, they grow up not feeling their name has much to do with who they are or what their purpose in life is. Wouldn't think about the meaning of my name to try and figure out what I'm going to be, right? It doesn't work like that, but in spirituality, that's how it is. The spiritual master sees the eternal, this Svarup, which is being spoken of here, the eternal position the soul has with Krishna, the spiritual master is seeing. So in that way, he is our true father. He's acting as a true father to give us our eternal. So see, with the spiritual master now, in the spiritual world, we will have a relationship with, continuing, but he will still be our father. See how that goes? So we have relationships with devotees that fulfill different mellows. They're described as in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I've been meaning to bring that here to be able to read. If someone wants to, you know which one that is, the Bhakti Rasa, because just reading the subject matter of these books give us an idea of how advanced the subject matter is in this, because it's revealing
Nectar of devotion?
Nectar of devotion, yeah, okay, sorry, yeah, that is it, this is it. This reveals what kind of experiences we should be having with one another when we're developing relationships. Let me go through some of the names of the chapters so it will give us a very good idea of how advanced these teachings are. We start out, characteristics of pure devotional service. The first stages of devotion, eligibility of the candidate for accepting devotional service. Then it's explaining a devotional service that passes all liberation. the purity of devotional service, how to discharge devotional service, evidence regarding devotional principles, offenses to be avoided, further consideration of devotional principles, techniques of hearing and remembering. Now, these are things that society is missing out on. Nobody's teaching them how to hear and remember. Yeah. Everybody thinks they know, right, how to do that. We don't. Aspects of transcendental service, further aspects of transcendental service, 5 potent forms of devotional service, devotional qualifications. And see, qualifications reveals to you what you have that Krishna called you here because of. You have developed these qualities that has been put there into you by Krishna previously to coming to Krishna consciousness. Spontaneous devotional service, spontaneous devotion further described, ecstatic love, character of one in ecstatic love, devotional service in pure love of God, transcendental mellow, qualities of Sri Krishna, further features of ecstatic love. Then there's neutral love of God, transcendental affection, impetuses for Krishna's service, indifference and separation. So all these, now there's analysis of mixed rasas. These make us aware of how to see psychologically contradictions, people in the world who are being controlled by the modes of energy are suffering in. I can give you an extreme example so that it's very easy to see how confounding men find themselves in when they are put under the control of the modes of material energy. Unless we're removed from it, we don't see it as that, because we're just as controlled as they are, right? But once you get controlled by that, you see the things that working in men's minds to cause them to do the things that they do without their own control over it. And here's an example. It's like when you go to a funeral. General custom amongst people when you go into a funeral is keeping a mood of reverence, austere reverence, right? Right. You don't crack jokes, right? Or while you're in there, speak, when you say profanely about the person, right? But people do that.
Okay.
They do, and they join in with it. When another fellow does it, they join in with it, just thinking it's just human way of being, you know. But these are revealed as serious offenses. When we commit offenses against one another, sometimes unknowingly, we're committing offense against Supersoul in us. And we don't look at it like that, right? We think of it committing just against a person. But Krishna doesn't take the, you can say, the request for forgiveness against a devotee upon himself. You got to go to that devotee to find forgiveness if you committed offense against the devotee. This is how karma kind of unwinds. So, the detailed, intricate laws of karma are so profoundly involved in our daily activities. The study of these books is really required for us to realize how we have been affected by so many things in our lives and not knowing the end suffering it causes us in many cases. Mm-hmm. But that's what these books are all given to us for, to be able to realize the problems we're causing ourselves. very strongly rooted, I know, in my own mind, in my own heart, as I began to work in the labor force as a part, of the construction force that's going on in the world, and making of cars and all these different things. I started to feel as though the position of a man was superior to the position women are being able to fulfill in the world. Now when you come to Krishna consciousness, the appearance has it that Krishna, having created the form of woman as that which serves him and his purposes for his own pleasure. Now, as a man, throughout my life, I've seen the form of women in a way that has been made for men and women to be able to be attracted to one another to create progeny, right? But those feelings of attraction for others based on the appearance of their bodies and all like this is being revealed by the scriptures as something we have to know the mind having been conditioned by. It is part of that drive that we have to enjoy the energy of Krishna for ourselves, rather than realizing that we are Krishna's pleasure. Krishna wants to take pleasure in us. So when we direct our energies towards trying to find pleasure for ourselves, we are in fact turning away from the pleasure we're trying to give to Krishna. Or we're made, we're created. We're not created. We're not made. We are. We just are. As Krishna says, there never was a time.
Yeah.
So then we are.
Yeah.
And we always have been. And that's the form we have to get back to realize that it will bring us that original happiness of being and that original position with Krishna. I don't know. See, as we sit here talking about more thoroughly, for this to be made available to everyone, and every level of love is being made available to everyone, and no matter what form they find themselves presently, male form, female form, in between, whatever they're calling the in-betweens. Because all of this that we have turned into in these material forms is all due to our desires to enjoy separate from Krishna, rather than realizing ourselves to be that which Krishna has made for the pleasure of himself. So, what we are doing when we do that, then we are turning around that law which has, if you do something for Krishna, Krishna automatically responds. But it doesn't work like that when you're turning your energy towards other people and making them to be the most important in your life. And this is what we have done with family relationships, with neighbors, relatives that we've, over the years developed. And we don't know that all these attachments have taken us away. Look at Namacharya Haridas Thakur. What amount of his time was spent doing anything besides chanting? That's just in comparison. It's just no time at all, practically. He took care of the necessities of the body only. And this is why, as Lord Brahma, he's in the position he's in. So these that we read about, these quote-unquote women that we read about as having these very close, intimate relationships with Krishna, we have to remember, to a great extent, a lot of them were yogis in male bodies in their previous lives. And see, when they have come through the process of being lower form, a lot of them, not all of them, those that were there in their original forms never left. They come here in order to preach. That's different. Srimati Radharani is of that nature, and all her Shaktis, all of her helpers are of that nature. They come from the eternal world. But there are also those like Narada Muni. Narada Muni was turned into a woman also at one point in order to come into the association of Lord Shiva at one time. So these forms that we are taking, not being made for our own pleasure, not being made for one another's pleasure, when we find the fulfillment and that satisfying position of the eternal ras we're supposed to be having with Krishna every day, constantly, eternally, then all that other attachment we have to individuals in the world will find its proper place and its means of us being able to bring them to Krishna also. Because the more we're attracted to them, the less we can attract them to Krishna. We're there bringing our attention to them rather than our bringing their attention to him. This is where renunciation comes into place in Krishna consciousness. We love people, but that love is not distracted from Krishna in order to express that love to them. It might seem somewhat removed. It is removed. But the nature of love is that it is an outward going giving, isn't it? Our experience of love is that which we've been pleading to and praying to. Please help me. I'm in a helpless condition. And that love is constantly responding. So what Krishna wants to bring us to is the state where that love is coming out of us and responding to those that need the love to be able to find who it is who is the source of the love. Nice. Yeah. So see, that's what people are not understanding in the world, running after each other, finding the beauty of each other, and not knowing that the source of that beauty is Krishna. So they'd be better off running after Krishna. We would be better off running after Krishna. So, and if we do run after Krishna, he gives us the ability to run faster. And that's what these relationships are. Because realizing what kind of experiences we should be having with each other purifies the way we see each other as well. Because if we see each other as, how can we say, fellow friends working together for the same cause, it's different than I look at you as thinking I can get something out of you, you know. So, even though it is agreed by people in the world that a true friend, a friend indeed, a friend in need, that they say is a friend indeed. So how we show our love for one another is by the deeds we do in order to fulfill what we think of as our responsibilities to fulfilling the requirements of the character that we expect others to have for us, and the respect we expect others to have for us when we become friends, right? We have certain expectations. But Krishna, see, developing a friendship with Krishna puts it on a whole different level altogether. So if we're communicating with Krishna, then we're going to be developing questions in our mind related to the things that would interest Krishna, right? So our minds will by that process be purified as we're conjuring in our minds with the same energy that we would normally use to have experiences with human beings. Krishna is revealing to us a higher form of consciousness we can be developing now to be able to have a personal conscious relationship with him on an ongoing basis. My development now lately has been the realization, my God, when Lord Chaitanya was on the planet revealing these souls he has brought with him from the spiritual world, also bringing Lord Brahma with him. He revealed the relationship they are having with him. And in so doing, just like in Krishna Lila, we see Lord Indra having poured out that water, right, for 40 days, 40 nights, water just poured down on all of Vrindavan. When Indra came to find out who Krishna was, then he surrendered. In Vedic culture, when you surrender, if you're a king and another king surrenders to you, you take over his kingdom. He is giving you his kingdom. See that? Lord Brahma surrendered to Lord Chaitanya. That golden throne seen by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, having Lord Chaitanya seated on it, I believe that's Lord Brahma's throne. I had a vision when I first became aware of the fact that God and God's people are separate from this world. And I had involved myself with the ways of this world, which the Bible advises against. But I had a vision, and I saw, in that vision, I saw a gold throne, and I saw someone seated on that throne, and from that throne there was water, ice cold water. It was ice cold. I was kneeling in my living room, but I was kneeling in a flowing, ice cold flowing river of water in my mind, in my dream and vision that I was being given. Now I'm realizing that may have been Lord Chaitanya I was seeing. I see at the time, I was taking it to be the person they called Jesus Christ. And I had other visions of who I thought he was as well. But now knowing the position that Lord Brahma was in, and that he is surrendered to Lord Chaitanya being the Yuga, the Dharma avatar for this age, the whole universe is under the control of Kali Yuga, the age of Kali, and its effect of karma effects upon people of the universe, right? Now think about this. If Lord Brahma surrenders his seat to Lord Chaitanya, this is common in Vaishnava culture. When Lord Ram left for the forest by his mother's demand, he has to go to the forest now because she wanted her son on the throne, her son out of love for Lord Ram, seated Lord Ram's shoes on his seat as a statement to say, Lord Ram, you are the king, I'm not the king. Even though he was put in that position of being a king. And what keeps these kings in the proper position is that they are recognizing God's superiority. And they are putting on the throne of their hearts the Supreme One who sits there. And then we have a real true vision of who we're serving. And know that by it is his power that everything is being done. So I asked Krishna the other day, Krishna, we say that you are in control of everything, right? But then why is it that we have so many evil leaders in positions of leadership? And this was the realization I got, was that Lord Krishna has actually taken these seats of control in the universe, which is why we can justifiably say that, because even Lord Indra surrendered his throne to Krishna. See, he was already in that position before, but he didn't know who Krishna was. We've been in that position before, haven't we? Serving God, who we believe God to be, and yet now coming to find out he's a different person than who we thought he was at first. But this is because God is revealing his intimate secret knowledge about himself to all those who are pursuing to want to know who he is. He's giving complete knowledge to all those who are searching for him. And you who are listening to the words of Bhagavatam, or studying Bhagavad Gita, or studying all Vedic literatures to reveal the absolute truth of the love of God. He's pouring it out in this time. And so he's got ideas and plans for the whole universe that we don't know about. And I believe he's taking all these positions now. He's going to take as many souls who are in this universe back to Godhead as will go for the next 10,000 years, so it says. And then after that, on this planet, religion as a whole is going to be done away with. See, this reveals as well, there may be perfect environmental circumstances set up on the whole planet, and an overall majority of the population become, you say, religious, spiritually minded, leaning towards the teachings of God. But as soon as desire to enjoy works its way into the hearts of men above and beyond the desire to serve God, then it ends up with what we have now. And it's turmoil, it's chaos, it's poverty in some cases, disease, death, famine, people suffering. All this desire that mankind builds in his heart to enjoy above everybody else, have more pleasure than anybody can have. This is a pursuit of happiness, trying to find pleasure in that which doesn't give pleasure, doesn't have pleasure to offer. None of these material possessions in the whole world have anything to offer us, because we are ourselves are of such a superior nature to anything in this world. This is how we can look at the value God himself puts upon us as compared to the things we look upon the things of this world as.
Wow.
And, yeah.
That was a heavy one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we have to, Krishna conscious means coming to the state of realizing how much Krishna loves us. All right? We're developing love for God, but it's nothing compared to what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all coming from him. Love has a source, love is a person, and the source of all. And now he's revealing it to us and giving it to us for us to experience.
Can you make that statement again?
Which one?
The one about
The love, where the love.
no. The superiority of ourselves above all other things in this world.
See, when you say it, it hits me too. Because it's a fact, isn't it?
It's
And
true.
doesn't the general populace consider a human life more valuable, rightly so, than things of this world? But when we put it in the perspective of what are we pursuing in the light of our activities in order to find pleasure, and generally speaking, if you look at most people's lives, they are pursuing the obsession of gaining possessions in this world and considering that to be happiness. And in the end, when we have to face leaving this world, the more we have attracted and put faith into those things, the less faith there will be in the one who actually is the giver of liberation and love and truth and happiness and satisfaction. It's all in the mind and the setting of its importance of things that it regards as being most important. and least important. And we all have that in our minds, that filing cabinet, you might say, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all a record that will enable us in the future to gain better access to better facilities, because the eternal realm is made of eternal substance, the same way the mortal realm is made of mortal substances that are temporary in their form, constantly changing. So then we can know that nature we are, that we're eternal. And the service and all the utensils and the facilities there in the spiritual world are all the same nature as well, as we would be eternal. So wow. And our minds are not limited to the things in this world. If we start immersing ourselves in the eternal teachings and the substance, and realizing the substance with the soul, the substance being made of the knowledge we're reading is being reminded of its value. We're being reminded by Krishna of how valuable we are to him. He's the one that wants to save us. We feel as though we're making the choice, but Krishna's pulling us in. He's the fisher of men.
True fisher.
Yeah. Anyone have any comments or questions, any realizations maybe?
I do after you turn off the broadcast.
Oh, it's best that more people hear it, the better.
It doesn't really apply to this story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. From one perspective, everything there is, having come from the Supreme Person, with our minds we can connect it all. You can see how it's all connected. I'm thinking in the kitchen, we have a problem. Because things, automatically, the way they're made in this world, they wear out.
Yes.
Right? But if we misuse them, they wear out even faster. And what's going on is, you get a spilled over pot, and then the next thing you know, it's got to build up. And people don't clean it.
Right.
So I'm going to get these pressure sprayers they use to spray fertilizer with, spray the plant. Just have that in the kitchen right by when everything spills over, boom, you just spray it down. There are inventions that Arjuna asked Krishna about. I'm waiting, that's one of them. That's one of the inventions. Krishna told Arjuna, if society has introduced into it too many technological advancements, it will destroy everything.
Wow.
And we're approaching that. We're approaching that stage of development. The more I keep thinking about the melting of these ice caps and the effect it's going to have, our whole society is going to be redone all over again. Yeah. All this stuff we're putting into the atmosphere it's a disaster compared to the Earth's original pristine state and man's ability to live with it and be a part of it. This aloofness from the material, mundane atmosphere that we are being described to be aloof from is not the same way the earth was originally in its original form, because the earth herself is sacred. But man transforming it into something else other than what it is. That's what all our technological advances are. Our dissatisfaction with the way things are. with the way Krishna originally made things. And we get dissatisfied because we don't use them the way they're meant to be used. And then we get frustrated. Krishna says, anger, lust, anger, greed, and then one gets frustrated, the worse, the more you get entangled in the frustration of it, the more angry you get. The more angry you get, the more illusion you get to be seeing things in a different way than the way reality actually is. And then people get overburdened by pain and suffering they can't take, and they want to leave. And it's all due to the fact that they're aiming their energy in the wrong direction. We got donations coming in on a regular basis. It is very important for us to use everything that is being donated for the purpose it was being donated for. Means we shouldn't be throwing things away that are supposed to be used for the benefit of all those who are donating it. They're giving it to Krishna for him to be able to give us benefit by it. If you throw it in the garbage, it produces famine. There's a statement in English language said, waste not, want not.
Yeah.
And the hidden meaning behind that means if you're going to waste things, you're going to be coming to a place where you will be wanting things.
Yeah.
And this is something devotees have to learn, because it's very easy for us to not be working hard at a job and obtaining money and then spending the money for things that we hope would be doing benefit for somebody, and just throwing it out when we don't do the work. There's one thing about the standard of cleanliness we have to have, and another thing about using what we are being given to its fullest extent. Yeah, this is part of being a faithful servant.
Have you heard about the Doomsday Glacier recently?
Have I heard about what?
The Doomsday Glacier. The Doomsday Glacier that's going to cause the catastrophe in the world.
I have not.
There's been a lot of earthquakes there recently.
It's coming.
It's coming.
See, and we're looking at it as disaster.
Right.
But what we don't know is it is itself a returning to its original state.
Right.
And people have to be brought to that knowledge as well, because this is being purposely done by cultures more advanced than those who have no knowledge of what's going on. And they are being given this instruction by spiritual guides. Just like we're being instructed by Bhagavatam, a spiritual guide to us. They have carried on teachings as well since the beginning and had known the responsibilities that they were given since time immemorial. And when this thing gets set right, it will mean a coming together, because when people are human beings are put into disastrous situations, then they're forced to love one another.
Yeah.
They're forced to help one another.
People come together.
Yeah. Even people that would otherwise be selfish and thinking only, why do you need my stuff? Mm-hmm. No, but people work together when the calamity is shared.
If there's a disaster, I'm coming here. We're going to die, I'll die here.
Yeah, well, instruction and knowledge is given to prepare for it.
Yeah.
So that when the destruction does come, we don't have to fear, we don't have to cry and whine and complain. Yeah, we just experience the supreme protection of the Supreme Person, God. Shrimadbhagavatam, Gita, Srila Prabhupada, Gita.